What is good? Welcome in for our first live show of the offseason. We have a Superflex tight end premium with a third round reversal startup mock for your pleasure. Let's kick this baby off. Obviously, the NFL season has came and went, and we are down to the final game of the season. Shout out to the Niners. Got Niners Chiefs. Should be a banger. So it means it's time to start building our ADP again. And of course, we will be doing a lot of mocking and focking so we don't fuck it up. That's what we do. We mock it up so we don't fuck it up.
We don't fuck it up. We mock it up. That way we don't fuck it up. A fresh crack. Are we rolling? There we go.
All right.
Allen over Mahomes.
Why does it say time's up? You still rolling? Okay. As long as you got it right. All right, we're good to go. So we're going to be doing a lot of mocking so we don't fuck it up here. Obviously, we want you to come join us. We're going to be going live. We're going to be trying to go live on Sundays for the most part. Won't be every week, but make sure you subscribe so you get those little notifications right there. It'll be 9:30. We'll be doing these same style mocks. We'll be doing rookie mocks. So be sure you subscribe to get all this right to your little fingertips. We are off and rolling. But, doing these drafts in the offseason, building this ADP, it helps us keep tabs on player values all throughout the offseason, who we might be seeing a spike on and maybe sell you to sell high, whose consensus is low on, and maybe we need to go send some offers on. But we want to start building that value chart, get an idea of who is worth what to the public so we can do our best to capitalize on that in one way or another. Maybe the top of the round one or middle of round two won't be a huge difference from now until September. But we will see many ebbs and flows all over the place. Where are these rookies going to start? And then where are they going to end by summer? Where are we going to be drafting these aging, somewhat dangerous behind the wheel, yet still valuable old people? Who are going to be these mid-round steals? Who are going to be the late round gems? So again, come hang with us all off season long. We're going to have some fun, try to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Like I said, going to be shooting for 9:30 on Sunday nights. We're going to be doing it next Sunday, so be sure to tune in for that. And then obviously Super Bowl Sunday, we'll take that week off. So let's get you caught up with where we're at here. With 1-1 was Josh Allen. 1-2, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Maybe a little bit of a jump up from where he was in this last offseason, depending who was in the room with you, but he was typically a few down. We got Jalen Hurts up there at 1-4. Wonder if anybody's starting to see any cracks in your Jalen Hurts stock at all. I don't really think so. I really like the hire of Kellen Moore, and I love the Vic Fangio. I think we don't put enough stock sometimes in the OCs and DCs leaving. And I think we saw that evident. The team was still really good. They got through some tough spots with the Eagles all through the season, but then kind of started up when things went awry and they started losing some games. I felt like, those going back to those coordinators being their rocks and really being able to adjust, I think hurt the Eagles. So we're getting some Kellen Moore. We're getting some Vic Fangio. I think that'll be good for the Eagles. I'm not terribly worried about Jalen Hurts moving forward. AJ Brown, maybe a little bit different story, but CJ Stroud goes at 1-5, Joe Burrow going at 1-6, then Justin Herbert at 1-7. All right, I like it. Then the two, we got a little bit of a different second receiver off the board here. We got Justin Jefferson at 1-8, and then CeeDee Lamb at 1-9. No problem with that. Would you look at that? We did our rankings, top 24, and CeeDee is definitely in the tree of trust in the top three. So then we got Caleb Williams going 110. I'm sure that's who Las Fats had queued up and was excited for. So now he's probably a little bummed that he didn't get Caleb. But so Caleb going at 110 right now in the first live Superflex startup mock of the offseason. So like to see that. Then Jamar Chase goes at 111. So we have all three of the top three. I think most people's probably tier one wide receivers going in the first round still. So I like to see that. I slid St. Brown into my top tier receivers. He's just been so damn consistent and so damn good. Would I trade St. Brown for Justin Jefferson straight up? No. definitely not. So maybe that Shamini should be down in a tier, but I'm giving the consistency. And then Ben Johnson sticking around for another year is absolutely huge for the Detroit Lions. And, not only is it good for everybody in your fantasy, on your fantasy roster there that are Lions, it also helps whoever else is that, going to maybe take Ben Johnson's place when he does seemingly inevitably leave for another destination. So all good things for your Detroit Lions stock of your fantasy players. Anthony Richardson goes at 112. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 2-1. And then our first running back off the board, Bijan Robinson, has broke free of his Arthur Smith chains, and he's ready to roll. So we got Raheem Morris coming into town. So glad to see him get another shot. Went over to hang out with McVay for a while and built a really good reputation and as a really good dude and a really good coordinator. And then, of course, brings, I believe, Zach Robinson as his OC over there, which has been with McVay for a while, the QB coach and wide receiver coach, and been all through that staff. So could be huge for your Atlanta Falcons, as much just like we were talking about Ben Johnson. The Atlanta Falcons and Bijan and Drake and Pitts and anybody else that ends up going there. We just need to figure out the quarterback situation. But if we can get a little bit of a McVay style system going down in there, that's always been very kind to a really good running back. We saw that with Kyron this year. That's kind of, when Kyron was out, they were missing something. They were missing the backbone of their offense. Todd Gurley being the earlier iteration of that. And then Bijan can now be the go-to guy in that offense with already a great offensive line there. Just a really good situation. And hopefully, the Falcons can kind of turn things around from where we were last season. So then we got Marvin Harrison going 2-3 there. So that's our second rookie off the board. But Vengo, old Big D, is drafting a squad, and he's got 2 rookies right off the rip. And then Kyler, and then old T-Laws with a little bit of fall from grace here, down to 2-5. So T-Law going before Dak.
I feel like that's still some respect on T-Law's name.
It's not the worst. I'm interested to see where Jordan Love goes. Wasn't sure if Big
almost
Co
made him the thumbnail.
Going to grab him here, but he did not. Fields, Prescott, Tua, Deshaun Watson. We'll see where he ends up. But lots of interesting quarterbacks kind of figuring out where their value is going to lie all throughout this offseason. So we got a little bit of a change of where some of those guys were going. Some of them are dropping down, and Jordan Love, obviously one of the biggest climbers all offseason, and for good reason. So A.J. Brown goes at 2-6.
Yeah, so someone in NK1 said that's kind of high.
I mean, it's not kind of high if we weren't worried. Like, you had to, I talked about it in our top 24 rankings. Like I said, go ahead and check that out. But when you see something like that where it's just mentally it didn't jive, and then he doesn't even go to the playoff game, and he's somewhere else, and it's just, you're hurt, but you got to be there for your team. And it just seemed like when things went bad, he was the first one to really have a problem, which you just can't have that out of your number one guy and a team that you're trying to build, a huge year after year winning culture. I know the Eagles have been really good at that, but you just can't have A.J. Brown being a dingus there. So little scared still, obviously in the upper echelon of wide receivers in the league, and in your at very least probably second tier wide receivers. But A.J. Brown definitely giving you some worries, at least me anyway.
Michael said he's got that dog. There's a little something else too.
Yeah,
he's got a little bit of cat in him.
He's got the dog. Yeah, he's got the dog that every once in a while just does some wild shit. And you're like, damn, dude, we need to keep the dog outside. What is? I mean, definitely got to keep him away from the kids. So all right,
so separate him from the other dog.
So Gibbs is our second RB off the board. Just absolutely outstanding through the back half of this season. He's just fastest guy on the field on an NFL field is just a wild thing, and he just looks like he is a step faster than everybody else. And once again, Ben Johnson sticking around and getting
crazy
one more year of kind of, it felt like they were feeling out how to use Gibbs throughout the season, kind of unlocked it a little bit. And they should do.
But then all of a sudden it was like, oh,
a
God,
very
Monty
similar
missed some
thing in the
time.
next season. Right. Monty missed some time, seemed to really unlock some stuff. But, they should probably not ride Gibbs hot and heavy to start the season going next year either. He doesn't need to be, ridden hard and put away wet, as they say.
Thoughts on Gibbs versus Bijan versus Brees? Got some comments, people taking different sides. I was like, they're the three top tier, right?
I can't get too picky. I'll stick with Bijan.
I mean, I gotta have some Bijan.
I'll stick
Probably
with
10
Bijan.
times out of 10. I'm taking Bijan first running back off.
All three of those guys are RB1 tier 1, and then
I put Bijan in the tier zone.
I mean, Brees was so good as well down the stretch on a shit team.
Yeah.
You get Rodgers in there, and they get back to work and maybe revamping that O line a little bit. And Brees just, I don't have a hard stance on any of those. If you like Gibbs as the RB1, cool. If you like Brees as the RB1, cool. But I think all of those guys could go right in a row, and I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Real quick,
I'd probably take both of them over AJ Brown. I could tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. Braden says, what is the purpose of a third round reversal in a startup draft? Very good question. And the answer is it's the Superflex.
Right.
It's only because of the Superflex. The Superflex, it's a advantage to get Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. It's not fair, really. And so to even it out a little bit, you get that third round reversal. If you have the first pick, you don't pick bang bang, 2-12 and 3-1. You got to wait till 3-12. So it's to me, it evens it out. I love it. At first, I was a little hesitant. I'm fully bought into the third round.
Yeah, but if you're not doing Superflex, then I'm fine.
Right. If it's not Superflex, then you don't need it.
Right. So Jordan Love then goes 2.8, Brees Hall 2.9, Puka at 2.10. One of the next, the biggest climber, right now, and Garrett Wilson falling a little bit. So. Some people are kind of out on Garrett Wilson. Puka, well deserved. I've got Puka up in that tier with Garrett Wilson, so I like to see kind of where these guys are falling right in line with some of my wide receiver rankings, which is always nice to see.
I always think of that Lil Wayne song where he's like, chrome lips poking out the coop look like it's Puka. So I think he's pouting.
Yeah,
I do what I do, and you do what you can do about it. Sorry, go ahead.
So Puka, nice to see him in there in the 210. I know we were getting some complaints in the offseason or before they updated everything, and now all these guys are kind of in a little bit more of the right spot, and it's a lot easier when you're mocking to find those guys. So I think Puka and the rookies are now on there, so you're going to see some of those go a little earlier, so you guys can shut up.
Well, hit us in the comments with the
and then there goes Dak. So the first team starts off Josh Allen, Dak. Dak. Again, outstanding in the back half of the season.
Till it mattered,
but it didn't matter for your fantasy team.
That's true.
So and then we got the reversal. There goes Fields. So Big Co hitting you with a little A-Rich and Fields. Then Kyron getting some respect on his name.
Yeah. RB4. What do you think about that?
3-2 there with Kyron Williams. Love that. I was interested to see where he would go. And going before CMC is something. CMC falling down there, but again, you're going into season. You're gonna be 28 at that point. Going into season, is that right? Yeah, 27. Will be 28 going into season. So you're 28 running back that got rode hard all season. I'm okay with letting CMC kind of slide down a little bit, but who's ever taken him? I mean, you're automatically in contention. You need to go ahead and if you wanted to draft him in the second, draft him in the second. But you are going in to win right now.
Same thing with Tyreek Hill, the next pick off the board.
So Deku goes CeeDee Lamb, Kyler Murray, and CMC. So I love that starting lineup right off the rip. You're in trouble. Yeah. But Kyron going there, I like the respect on it. I mean, I know some people it took forever for everybody to come around on Kyron. It took us a minute to come around on Kyron, but I mean, there's not that many running backs that I want over Kyron at this point. I stated in the beginning of this thing, kind of the cog in the wheel of the Rams, kind of like hopefully Bijan will be for the Falcons here moving forward in that style of offense. And they look different when Kyron was out there. And I just don't see any reason why they're going to go and replace Kyron with some high draft pick. They might draft somebody else, and maybe Kyron's opportunities aren't there. Obviously, that's what really drove Kyron was the volume, but he was also really good with what he did. Excellent receiver, excellent pass blocker, and then just outside of missing a chunk of the season there, was pretty durable for the amount of load he was carrying with the BMI. So
I feel like I've been trying to figure out, what all the metrics matter and where people how much they are valued. It's one thing to know what the threshold is, but then and what the important stat is, but how much, how does it rate in these people's grades and stuff? And I feel like it's got to be a little fluid. Like BMI used to be a big thing for both position skill sets, and
I don't care at all.
They have slowly had to adjust the model to not weight as much into the weight. Basically,
right.
Nailed it.
All right, so then
fluid, kids, and they don't explain it to you very much. You have to do a lot of research and work to figure it out.
Sure,
I'm almost there.
I'm
gonna be the analytics guru of this podcast.
The analytics guys don't want you to figure out that you only need like 4 of them. So they try to do what they can to not tell you shit. Except for, well, I found this and historical data points to this, which is great. I want to know all that stuff. It's a roadmap, but it's not the definitive answers. You can take multiple routes. So CMC goes 3-4, Tyreek Hill 3-5. So that's our first old receiver. But I mean, again, just like CMC, you're ready to Tyreek Hill's a league wiener. And you got Justin Jefferson, T-Law, and Hill. That's a great start. And Brock Purdy getting a little respect on his name at 3-6. Olave has fallen down a little bit. He was in the early 3s, late 2s last year, and now he's at 3-7. I like that value. I like the start for J. Mike Check, Joe Burrow, Gibbs, and Olave. That's a whole lot of fun. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, and Nico Collins for Charlie Waffles there. So Nico going at 3-8. I like that. First of the Texans receivers off the board. 2 at 3-9, probably a good value for your fantasy team. Then Jalen Waddle, once again, falling down, sort of like Chris Olave, but I think he's maintained a buy from halfway through the season until now for us. No surprise that Hoodie AMB, welcome back, bud. Good to see you. Takes the shot there because he's got the Dolphins moniker at the top. Devonta Smith going at 3-11. And maybe AJ Brown being a little wonky strengthens your stance on Devonta Smith a little bit.
For sure.
And Kellen Moore coming there, potentially. I still got a lot of faith in Kellen as an offensive coordinator. And I like Devonta Smith a whole lot. The Slim Reaper is a G. So I fucks with him. And then on the end here, we got Adam W., who has just gone 4 quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Dak, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. The state of where the quarterbacks are, there's so much up in the air. Like we're about to get to a point where, after 2 or 3 more quarterbacks go off the board, it is nothing but question marks. Who's sticking around? Who's going to be where? I like Stafford as a late value. Love the buy in a Stafford if I need a quarterback, but is what it is. And then we got guys like Baker, Bryce Young, Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff, which I think Goff and Watson to me are 2 guys that I feel pretty comfortable with still. The rest of these guys, starts to get like real quick. So he just put this whole, if this was an actual league, obviously it's a mock, but he puts everybody in a bit of a pickle there. Now, do May and Daniels work out? TBD. But the fact Jaden Daniels is going to score fantasy points with his legs alone, and we'll see where either one of those guys end up. And if stylistically and coaching regime really fit those guys, would be obviously a huge factor. And if they succeed, but I'm not really that upset about that. You have to be diligent in how you draft the rest of your team, but you probably have a lot of fluidity in how you can move about after this draft. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of that team goes. So Kenny Walker before JT, can't sign off on that. I think still heavy on the JT. Then Brandon Ayuk getting some respect. Rashee Rice getting some respect. And there goes Neighbors. So big gap between Marvin Harrison and Neighbors in the startup right now. We'll see how that ekes, and it depends on who's in the room, but we'll see how that ekes up as the summer wears on and more people get to the fact of, I'm not even sure if Marvin Harrison is the 1-1. Is it Neighbors or is it Harrison? So that groundswell is coming. It's all over the place, and I think it'll catch up, and I think Neighbors will probably float up these rounds a good bit here as the summer or as the draft season kind of cycle moves forward. Neighbors is going to land in most likely a really good spot. And if he lands in the Chargers spot there as possibly projected, I think, be a lot of excited people there. So Pittman at 4.7, always a wonderful value. Travis Etienne goes 4.8. Trey McBride 4.9. So Trey McBride, tight end 2 off the board. Like that. If Marvin Harrison Jr. ends up on the Cardinals, do we worry a little bit about Trey McBride? I don't think so. We got to see what they do with the rest of that receiving core. I think you could see, a tiny bit. Me and JB talked about this on a show of valuing your rookie picks, and if we were worried about Trey McBride, but both of us came to the conclusion that not really. McBride was such a downfield target, such an integral part of being of Kyler Murray's game in his return that I just can't see me being terribly worried about the market share of Trey McBride. Brock Bowers, our fifth rookie off the board, goes at 4.10, so he could end up at the Chargers too. That would be pretty exciting. But he's just an outstanding player. And as his tight end premium, we're getting 1.5. I'm a huge proponent of going tight end heavy.
You're talking about Brock.
In that in this format, and to see him go over guys like Hawkinson and Andrews, I guess is fine. I mean, I think he's
the hype
immediately
is so hot. That's why you kind of have to. Like, it's hotter than probably Pitts.
Maybe if Hawkinson isn't hurt,
I guess it's not hotter than Pitts. It's not hotter.
It's going to be equal at least.
Pitts was like in tight end premium. He's like a first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, Bowers is probably going to. I mean, Bowers goes 5 to the Chargers, just like I was talking about neighbors. And as this cycle wears on, more and more people are going to be psyched about Bowers. So you got Mark Andrews 4.11 there, and then Drake London at 4.12. Big Co, and then Big Co snags another quarterback and Jared Goff at 5.1. I mean, there isn't that many quarterbacks surrounded by a better supporting cast than Jared Goff, and feels more insulated. Especially you get Ben Johnson staying around for even another year now, and like I talked about at the top, that's good for everything. But you got St. Brown, you got Jamison Williams.
Finally,
throughout the
he almost cut y'all boys. He almost did it to y'all. He almost did the Niners in.
Throughout the end of the season, you started seeing him playing the position, doing the little things a little bit more. It wasn't resulting in fantasy points per se, but has the end around in this game where he had the end arounds in the other games and then he took this one to the house.
You know what I didn't like about that?
What?
He didn't want to celebrate at all with his teammates. Them boys were all trying to dab him up, and he didn't even turn around and acknowledge him. He just kept walking closer to the crowd and the camera. I was like, man, this man. I mean, around.
He didn't. Yeah, that's fine. It wasn't like he was walking. He was walking towards the crowd.
He left them all boys hanging, basically.
I'm not worried. That's fine. It wasn't like he just like.
I don't like it.
Yeah, that's silly. He was fine. It wasn't an overt, blatant.
There was like 8 dudes standing next.
Yeah,
to him.
And then once he turned around, they all hugged and whatnot.
And that didn't happen until the camera was off. I didn't see that part.
But he scored a playoff touchdown in the NFC Championship for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, of course I'm going to walk towards the crowd and get fired up and look into the camera. Fuck yeah, I am. Let's go. That was
after he did his dance, and everybody was trying to like dap him up, and he was like, "Man, fuck y'all. This is about me." That's what I got from that. I didn't like it. I didn't like watching.
Yeah. Well, I don't like a lot of things you say, but I have to deal with it. So,
well, who's going to edit the show?
Anyway, nobody. You don't have to edit this one. But Jamison Williams, now that you got me completely off track on a pointless rant, thank you.
You're welcome.
You started seeing little things of Jamison Williams kind of popping up, and I know people don't like Jamison Williams because he didn't hit the thresholds, and there's no way he could be good
celebrate
now.
With his teammates.
But you saw on an NFC Championship him get some pretty good touches. You saw the speed being evident, and
poke a tackle.
As things progress, we're hoping we can get a little better Jamison Williams. But as far as that Jared Goff, if Jamison Williams does fully blossom in that third season and maybe could be healthy for the whole off season here, you got St. Brown, you got Laporta, you got Gibbs, you got Monty, you got one of the best O lines. I mean,
If Josh
Jeez.
Reynolds could just catch, Jesus, he's he's open.
What a supporting cast for Goff there. Then A-Chain goes 5-2, 5-3, Deshaun Watson, 5-4, Kirk Cousins.
J. Mike agrees with me about Jameson Williams' lack of celebrating with his team. It's just for the record. Keep going.
Cool. What about Zay Flowers' comments after the game? Did you like that? No, you probably didn't like that.
What
so
did
take
he say?
him off your
I
board.
didn't see
doesn't
it.
matter. I'm not getting into it right now.
Oh, I'm gonna go look it up.
Zay Flowers at 5-5, Hawkinson at 5-6, getting a little discount on Hawkinson. So you're gonna have to draft another tight end here, which I know it's not gonna be a problem for JMW, but I think that's a huge discount at Hawkinson for 5-6. Pitts at 5-7, Kincaid for 5-8. Nice little run of tight ends there. I think that's really good value on most of those guys in the 5th round. Hawkinson is a week-to-week, like 17 point per game average kind of guy, and has just been absolutely outstanding in his time in Minnesota there. We'll see what happens with the quarterback situation. I would say all signs point to Kirk coming back. And if so, then there's really not much to worry about with TJ Hawkinson. That guy is a machine in tight end premium. Kyle Pitts, it's a risky pick at this point, but I'm with it. If we can get an evolution of that offense and a quarterback, I think Kyle Pitts will be just fine. Kincaid had a really good rookie season. If it wasn't for Laporta's rookie season, yeah, we'd be excited about Kincaid. But moving forward, Diggs, we don't know. Gabe Davis, free agent. Shakir's been really good. Nice late round target here. But that there's not a whole lot left going on. They need to revamp over there in Buffalo, and Kincaid was very good in a lot of spots this year after having a bit of a slow start there. And so like the Kincaid grab. DJ Moore, absolutely great value, I think, at 5'9", 5'10", JSN, like that. Tank Dell, 5'11", Jordan Addison, 5'12", Roma Dunze, 6'1", Keon Coleman, 6'2", Bryce Young, 6'3", T. Higgins, 6'4", James Cook, 6'5", and then Levis at 6'8". Boy, that's some Kentucky bias showing there, bub.
What was the TJ Hawkinson injury? Was it
ACL
or
MCL?
or, ACL and MCL.
I think
wasn't
so.
Achilles. Okay, yeah, torn ACL.
So nice little run of receivers there. Zay Flowers going before some of those guys. I guess I'm okay with that. I think. Let's see what receivers are left here. Diggs, Jaden Reed, Debo Samuels, Devontae Adams, Pickens, Godwin, Kirk. Yeah, give me Flowers there, like that. So yeah, I mean Flowers, Tank Dell. I think Big Co said he would swap Flowers for Tank Dell on one of the shows that we had. It's probably in the hopper yet, hasn't come out. But we do get into some Zay Flowers on that one. Jordan Addison, as long as we get a quarterback in Minnesota, you got to love that. A great rookie season. And then Rome, I love. Keon Coleman, TBD on. Exciting guy, but really need to dive into him a little more, get a little further into the hows and whys. But right now there are some concerning analytics of Keon Coleman of
by that highlight tape.
I'm sure there's some awesome highlight tape. I mean, he's a whole lot of fun, but he seems to be a little bit of a risky proposition right now.
Well, people don't like him
as a rookie.
He's already busted.
Well, he just seems to be a little rookie, little risky with kind of the profile he's coming in with. He could smash, but could be a liability. Bryce Young coming in at 6'3". I think that's pretty good value there. We got a whole new regime coming in there. Canales has done wonders with Geno Smith and went down to Tampa and did wonders with Baker Mayfield. Probably, a really, really good shot for Young here. I mean, I don't know that Tepper had the best resources at his fingertips, because he had plenty of resources, but did any of the good resources want to go there for any amount of money? I don't think so. So, at least you got a guy who's got a nice track record of, reviving careers of quarterbacks, and you're only a year into Bryce Young, and it wasn't all terrible. They just were a bad team. Like the offensive line needs to get better, and you need to get them some weapons. That's something that you got to figure out. But Canales, from where his development and what his MO has been, is seemingly really, really good news for Bryce Young. So Bryce Young there going at 6'3". I like that. T. Higgins at 6'4" seems like really good value there, and DK Metcalf at 6'7". That also seems like some really strong value. And then you got guys like Jaden Reed and Deebo Samuels, which we did our wide receiver ranks, and Jaden Reed and Deebo were kind of the first guys out of the ranks. Deebo's probably going to be great for another 2 years, but he's a guy that you worry about. He's kind of like the running back. You get to that 28 to 30-year-old threshold and he might be dead. Whereas, receivers we could see going deep into, 31, 32, 33 and still be productive. Deebo's one of those guys that you probably worry about a little bit. Jaden Reed, on the other hand, seems to be their go-to kind of manufactured touch guy there in that Green Bay offense. But you do have to be concerned with, hey, when we have a full complement of guys, how do they, distribute targets throughout that team? So is 6'8" too high? Probably not. It's probably right on time, probably right where it needs to be. So Josh Jacobs at 6'10", love that. We still got some RBs here that are pretty fun. Then we got Big Co hitting you with a little Kittle at 6'12". Let's see what tight ends are left there. We got Kelsey still on the board, Joku, Ferguson, Goddard. We just did a mock and Goddard fell down and tumbled, which give me that value. We got Komet, Freiermuth, Mayer, Waller, Musgraves, Schultz, Kraft. So probably not terrible value there on Kittle. Pickens at 7'1", so just two huge stabs from Big Co. And then Stafford and Daniel Jones there from Fats getting beat up by Adam W., feeling the wrath of those 4 quarterbacks that he drafted there, having to reach up and grab Stafford at 6'11", and then Daniel Jones at 7'2", where I think those guys lasted a good bit longer. And in the other long mock that we just finished up with the Patreons, an effort to we do a ton of long mocks over on the Patreon side of things, building the ADP. Then we come over here and we do these shorter ones to have a little fun with the patrons, and we throw it out to the public as well. So then Penix going 7'3", with Vengo, who's a Washington guy. So he's got Caleb, Watson, and Penix. So he might need to shore up a veteran quarterback here at some point. But we still got some guys that might hang around. Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, very much, Sam Howell, you don't really know what to do with. Kenny Pickett, some options there that could have some, we know Derek Carr is most likely going to get a start next year. We know Geno Smith is probably going to get a start next year. Baker Mayfield seems like locked in to at least be a starter somewhere. He can't play that well and not be.
Somewhere he's going to get a shot.
But I can't imagine.
Probably a decent little contract.
I mean, Tampa, he basically played his way right into the best scenario possible because they don't have a high draft pick. They'd have to trade to go get somebody or take somebody in the 2nd or 3rd round.
And played him out of a draft pick.
Right.
They're like, damn it,
and he played really well. So, you at least got to give him that kind of Geno contract. I wouldn't give him a huge contract, but you give him a 2-3 year, which, we need to start normalizing in the league here. I know I'm never going to begrudge anybody for getting their money, but we can't just be paying, they should have franchised Daniel Jones and, paid him for a year or said, hey, you got to take less money or don't see ya. So, be interesting to see what the Giants do too, but Daniel Jones should come back. I'm not terribly worried about Daniel Jones. I think I still have some faith in him. There goes Kelsey at 7'9". So now here we get into some interesting spots here. We got Jacobs at 6'10", and then we got some Rashad White at 7'4" and Barkley at 7'5". Seems really strong running back value right there, which could be, I think, something that we see kind of in the offseason. I think we're going to get some decent values of mid-round running backs here that could really help you out. And then Joku, outstanding, really breakout season, sort of, just kind of looking like the guy you envisioned when he was coming out in that draft. We tagged him as the Granite Gazelle because the dude was just so fast and so yoked. And this year, especially with Flacco, really, really exploded there in the back half of the season. So big stuff looking forward from Joku there at 7'6". Then we got Brian Thomas and Troy Franklin, who are kind of that battle for the 1-8 right now. In rookie drafts, we see a strong 1-1 to 1-7 if we're playing Superflex tight end premium. Franklin and Thomas, we're kind of trying to figure out who that 1-8 is going to be and what that next tier of guys are going to be. Right now, it seems like the front runners are Troy Franklin and Brian Thomas Jr. Those guys are getting a lot of buzz right now. Both guys are probably going to perform really well at the combine, put up some really fast numbers, really big numbers. We're going to be hitting you with a show with those guys, with Austin and Matt here coming soon. Give you a little verses and the battle for the 108. So we'll dive deeper into them. But like both of those guys, I'm not sure if I want to stick them up there just yet. I've been liking some Xavier Worthy. I've been liking some Mitchell. I think a running back will end up, working his way up there one way or another here. Then Chris Godwin, just perennially been a value for the last year or two. 7-10, I like that. Then we got Pacheco, 7-11, so he's staying around. And then Tajay Spears, an interesting pick here at 7-12. You'd have to think that they're going to bring in another running back, because it seems like King Henry has all but said his goodbyes there, and we got a whole new regime coming in. It'll be interesting, but Tajay was outstanding in his spot duties of last year, just looking super elusive, great pass catcher. Almost has to be at least the 1A. I can't see them doing anything dramatic, but I feel like they're gonna at least have to bring in another guy to compete with him a little bit, or a platoon situation. But Tajay Spears seems to be a great running back in waiting and a PPR machine. But I wouldn't count on him just having that backfield to himself. So definitely something to monitor there.
These boys were talking about they thought you threw some Watson shade somewhere back there.
Deshaun?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so.
Maybe it was with the quarterback money talk. I don't know. I didn't hear it either. I haven't been listening to you 100%. So I didn't know if you did. And I needed to hear it.
I don't think I threw too much Watson shade.
Okay.
I just said, Joku really exploded with Flacco. So we got to see, but he was pretty good with Watson, but really, really had those big games with Flacco. I mean, Watson at 5.3, I'm fine with that. I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
Flacco comes in and lights it up, and Flacco was definitely more equipped for a Stefanski-like system. That's not what Watson has done throughout his career. Watson wants it to be spread out, and Stefanski's going to play a play action. That's fit right into what Flacco wanted to do. So he came in and lit it up, and had a decent amount of turnovers as well. But Watson came out there, and it wasn't as pretty as he'd like it to be, but he was winning games, and seemed to be kind of coming around, getting a little more comfortable. Obviously, a terrible injury, so we shall see. Warranted to drop down from kind of where I was liking him last year at the turn of round being early mid round 2. So warranted to come down here because we do have a little bit of questions. It didn't look awesome all the time, but they paid him a lot of money.
Fantasy floor was right there,
but the fantasy floor was fine. He ran around enough.
Yeah.
And
he made it happen every week.
Was
it wasn't
making it
like
happen.
Week winning weeks.
Right.
He needed
a lot
to
of
get some
noise,
shit
a lot of
cleaned up.
noise in the media every week, because that's what's going to be with Deshaun Watson. They want to
The
hate him.
noise is going to be brought
for good reason. Whatever. I mean, that is what it is. They don't allegedly hate him.
Yeah.
He allegedly did some messed up.
Well, every
stuff.
time someone talks about him, they use the word allegedly.
Right.
So I'm like,
but warranted to see the drop there. But I'm still in, and I'll take that value right there.
Scratch says Freudian slip when you said Vengo needs another vet QB after having those three.
Oh, only because he's got two. I got you. Because he has Caleb Williams and he has Penix, so he needs. We don't. Obviously, Caleb and Watson are going to be your guy, but you don't really. Penix is.
They don't like it.
TBD,
That's some Watson shade.
Would love to see Penix go in the first round. He's my favorite quarterback outside of those top 3 guys. But we shall see kind of where he goes. He ends up in the second or third round. Still going to be my guy, but this is how rookie stuff works. He goes in the second or third round.
You don't have
Nix
to take him
or JJ McCarthy. I'm still going to be my guy, but we need to adjust. We can't just keep taking him at 108 or 109 or 110. We gotta. I'm still going to trade up in maybe the second round and grab him, because I do believe in him. I think he's great. But people don't feel the same way as I do. I thought he played outstanding throughout this entire season, and the season before. I trust him way more than I trust Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy. But JJ McCarthy wasn't asked to do a whole lot. So
Obi-Jan Kenobi, great YouTube name, says Bo Nix is being so overlooked. I just had to say that name, Obi-Jan Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bo Nix is, if he gets the high capital and JJ gets the high capital, then we're going to be moving those guys up. We just are. I don't like them as much as Penix, but I think Nix showed the ability to improve from this time at Auburn, where I wrote him off, to the time at Oregon, two totally different guys. I think he could game manage you and score you some fantasy points. And I know game manager is a dirty word, but it shouldn't be. He could probably make a
game manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could probably make a long career out of that. I think he's capable of doing that. Big physical kid, could run around a little bit. And JJ McCarthy might be awesome, but we just, JJ certainly has the tools too. We just didn't see it a ton. They didn't have to. So it's kind of a little bit of TBD on him. You're drafting the tools and the ability to manage a game, which he did really well all the way to a national championship. And Harbs goes somewhere where he already has a guy, so he didn't go somewhere where he might take McCarthy and bring him right along as his Alex Smith in the Niner days. Obviously, he didn't draft Alex Smith, but all right, let's get back to the draft here. Jake Ferguson on the 8-1 on the turn there with Spears. We got Gino Freiermuth going 8-3, little respect on Freiermuth, and then Javonte Williams value. The Montgomery, I feel like, is a value right now. Evans, you can count on J Mike to take Evans. Like that, I don't know if I want to go 8-6, but hey, I didn't want to take him at all last year because I was scared to death of what Baker would be. But Mike Evans was absolutely outstanding last year, showing no signs of slowing down. Would like to maybe see him a couple rounds down here and still take him, but it's always interesting, kind of how you weight the older guys in a draft. Do you, like, a lot of the times in a startup, I don't even look at them a ton because that's not the way I want to set my franchise up. But drafting guys like Mike Evans can get you in the cash year 1, year 2, which, I'm never going to begrudge or besmirch. There goes Romeo Doubs, so the second Packers receiver, and right behind him, Christian Watson. Doubs really heated up in the playoffs. Doubs, we know, is loving him, have a good relationship. I felt like Doubs really came out and performed in some big spots. Christian Watson,
it's Dobbs, right?
Dobbs, yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Christian Watson, came out and performed in a spot or two here or there, but it's TBD. We don't exactly know.
Can we get all three of those guys on the field at the same time for an extended period of time?
Right.
Like, how awesome would that be for that?
We had him at the end of the season, but Christian Watson was coming back from something. It certainly wasn't integrated into the things that he could do. And then, you get Musgraves and Kraft out there. That's kind of what I was saying about Reed at 6'8". We just don't know how the rotation of guys, but Reed seems to be the guy that they're willing to manufacture the sweeps to and the screens, but he can also get in that slot and run a deep route and kill you. I don't, it's TBD on these Packers receivers. I want some of them because this offense is all going to just be growing together and seems to be a lot of fun, and Love can get it done. So let's go. Let's figure it out. Terry McLaurin going 8-9. Let's get some Drake May into Washington and let Terry cook. Amari Cooper, just like Mike Evans, outstanding year. Najee at 8-11, probably really good value there. I know everybody hates him, but he's still a good player. They bring in Arthur Smith. Stock up Najee if Arthur Smith is there. He's going to want to run the shit out of the ball, and this is the kind of back that he likes to do it with. And then you're going to get Warren kind of, playing spoiler like, he did at points for the season of Najee this year. I think you're going to see the same next year. But if the Pittsburgh offense can move the ball a little bit better, we could see more touchdown. We could see more upside with those guys. It's kind of what I thought you were going to see this year. You got to see one game with Pickett without the coordinator, and they have 400 yards of total offense, and then Pickett goes out, I believe, the next game. And then, a little bit of weirdness of Mason kind of starting with a healthy Pickett, maybe riding the hot hand. I don't know. Seems like there's going to be a competition there, regardless of who is in that quarterback room for Kenny Pickett moving forward. And then Devontae Adams. So we're starting to get the olds going here.
Olds.
We got
doesn't quite have the same ring as like the youths.
We got Devontae Adams going with Big Co there at 9-1, and then Diggs at 9-2. Then Trey Benson going 9-3. I like that pickup. So that's Vengo's second RB. Then Josh Downs. We got Baker. So that's Theo's second quarterback with T-Law. Marquise Brown, Bo Nix. There we go. Cole Kmet. I think that's outstanding value for Cole Kmet. In tight end premium, he was, scored damn near as many points as DK Metcalf. We've pointed that a lot. We did a whole show about it, but the disrespect on Cole Kmet is either he's getting Justin Fields back, who he played really well with, or he's getting Caleb Williams. I fucking love Cole Kmet and the value that you can get him at right now. Christian Kirk, great value there. Awesome wide receiver 2 or 3 for your team. We got Bucky Irving going at 9-10. He's going to be very, very interesting throughout this cycle to watch. A little bit on the smaller end, but an outstanding receiver, shifty speed, coming out of Oregon. So a lot of fun there. I think as the cycle kind of catches up, he's probably going to be a riser in the people who aren't, the degenerates like us. As this cycle goes on, I think Bucky Irving will be a buzz name. Then Calvin Ridley at 9-11. Really, some people might be bummed from the expectations they set from Ridley for coming back from year one of being out for 2 years. But I thought Ridley was pretty good. There was a lot of missed opportunities there in Jacksonville.
He still has it.
He certainly still has it. I think that's really, really strong value there
interference
at 9-11.
Yards too.
Right. And a good bit of drops, whether that was on
touchdowns.
Right. He could have been really, really solid. Then Alvin Kamara right here, another solid little grab there at 9-12. Be interesting to see what the Saints do here kind of moving forward. They're in cap hell. The team's kind of
Have they ever not been in?
Very surprised they kept Dennis Allen through for another season there. Just doesn't seem like everybody's down with Derek Carr. It feels like he just kind of rubs people the wrong way.
Well, he's mad none of his receivers running the right routes.
But he played he played pretty decent down the stretch. Beginning of the season was and then Olave started kind of coming alive. Michael Thomas was throwing some shade at Carr the other day, basically saying how he got him injured and would have had an easy 1,000-yard season.
Jesus, of course, Michael Thomas.
I think I saw that. I don't know. Sources close to sources say. Then Cooper Kupp. So we've just got a run of the olds here at
the aged.
Those guys are probably going to be difference makers on these teams. Which guys, Devontae Adams clearly can still do it. Diggs tapered off a little at the end of the season, maybe something to do with the coordinator change, but still seem to have it. And Cooper Kupp, I don't think he's dust. I think he'll have a pretty productive season here.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
we were so worried about Cooper Kupp coming back and taking Puka's, taking back his role, and we should have been worried about when Puka emerging and taking Cooper's role.
I mean, I feel like in that playoff game when I think Cooper scored at the end, Puka was like so pumped for Cooper. It's like, wait, this should be reversed. Like Cooper should be pumped for Puka. Instead, Puka's like pumped that Cooper got involved.
Right. Yeah.
But Cooper, he did. You weren't sure about the injury because he got hurt early in the offseason. You weren't even sure. It was kind of weird. And then he came back and all of a sudden looked like he was back and was taken for Puka a little bit. And then kind of got nicked up a little bit more throughout the season. So when you're that old and when you have a 3 in front of your age and you're getting nicked up and now you have this young emerging superstar, you're just going to continue to drop down.
Right.
But I mean, shit, something happens to Puka, God forbid, Cooper Kupp could be another.
Well, I don't even think. I think if Cooper Kupp can just be healthy through a season here, but I mean, I think he'll be plenty of value.
Yeah.
And have games where he outscores.
But I mean, if Puka went down or something, he could win you your league again. He could be back as the number 1 wide receiver overall. I feel like.
I think he's certainly still got enough to really propel you into some game-winning games for Cooper Kupp. So we got Michael Mayer, and real quick, I'll go back to this 9th round. I like this. I like this Downs, Hollywood, Kirk, Ridley, strong group there. I think I love the Hollywood pick right there. I've been a big proponent of Hollywood.
People were not happy about y'all's Hollywood's rankings.
Love Hollywood Brown. He's been there and done that. He's
wildly unproductive.
Yeah, okay, he's hurt, and he played with who last year, and he was still putting up numbers in the beginning of the season last year. If you want me to do a whole dissertation on Hollywood Brown, I fucking can. You're an idiot if you think he's unproductive. Like, you're just not paying attention. You're just, looking at stats and looking at the box scores.
I said, hey, if you want to rank them all based on how the points they scored last year, this would be really easy. We don't even need to do
this. This is a
work.
guy who put up top 5 receiver numbers for a chunk of last year with Kyler Murray when healthy, and then that all went to shit. And then in this beginning of the season was very productive with nobody at quarterback. And then on top of, then he tailed off at the end of the season. So now we're getting great value on Hollywood Brown. He's still like 25 years old, dude. Like, what are we doing?
He's got to be older than that.
He's just turned 26 then. Like, he's not old.
26-year-old.
No, that's not old at all. Like, he was awesome. He's just a really, really good player. If he can get healthy and stay healthy, he's going to crush. Kirk gets no respect. Kirk's awesome. So anyway,
Simmons is old.
Going through this 10th round, we got Cooper Kupp leading us off at 10-1, Mayer 10-2, Deontay Johnson at 10-3. Love Deontay. Arthur Smith coming to town makes you worry a little bit about the
could he just take it a year off for all of us?
Johnson and Pickens attitude when they're not getting the ball is not great. Although,
neither is his when
we've had Arthur Smith put together a good offense. So, different arena for him to be in up in Pittsburgh, not the head coach. So we shall see.
The pen is not blue.
There goes Keenan Allen. We got Jameson Williams coming off the board here. Blake Corum. Is that the second rookie running back off the board?
There's Bucky Irving. Was he the first?
He's the third. So we had Benson, then Bucky Irvin, and then Blake Corum. So that's the third running back.
Trey Benson already went. Yeah. Oh, Benson, Irvin, Corum.
And then you just had Jonathan Brooks go, who I think is going to end up being the RB1 in this class, even though he's coming off an ACL. So wouldn't be surprised if he floats up a little higher. And you got to take a little bit of a medical year on him and hope that by the back half of that year he could be productive for you as he gets integrated back into the offense. But who knows? ACLs nowadays, he could be at the beginning of the season and
you're going to get
some carries.
You're going to get an injury discount on him a little bit. Basically,
I mean,
the ACL.
I guess so. You probably really shouldn't though. If he was healthy, I think he would be up in this conversation for that 1-8 battle that we're talking about. So in the rookie draft, I think in the startup, I'm not so worried about the injury discount, but if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it. So we get back to the 8th round here. We had Corum, we had Brian Robinson, we had Goddard. Like I said, 10-8. This is a guy who was 4th, 5th round tight end premium. Kind of fell off. This is glowing red value to me. Wicks, another one of those Packers receivers. Grab him. See who comes out on top. Ramondre Stevenson, again, glowing value to me right there. Really good player, I think. Just injured and I mean, boy, oh boy, were the Patriots a mess. And then Aaron Jones, just end of the season was what you thought you might get all season. So if you get even Aaron Jones for 14 games, 13 games next season, I mean, he's outstanding. You would assume that they might even address that line even further, even though the line was really good without having Bakhtiari at all, really all season, and just a lot of different iterations of that line, but they got some good parts and pieces, and there goes Musgrave. So Big Co is now 3 tight ends deep. I like that.
12 million dead to cut Aaron Jones. So probably got to keep him, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe even restructure for like an extra year?
Yeah, we shall see. I mean, there's no reason to get rid of him. How good he was at the end of the
if he's
season.
healthy, fire his ass up.
Oh, yeah. Then we got Jerry Jeudy coming in at 11-1, which, I mean, everything going on in the Broncos right now, they're definitely taking a quarterback. I don't know when or who or what, but, Jerry Jeudy is the ultimate. I know there's talent there. We shall see. Could be a huge discount, but, how many years in a row do you go to bat for him? I'm sure a lot of people he's muerto, but which is dead. But
yeah, if you didn't know,
I'll mess around with Jeudy again with the discount. Then Schultz, love that. All he did was be pretty damn productive this year, and I don't know why the Texans wouldn't bring him back. Like, he's just an integral part of that offense. The tight end is.
He didn't absolutely blow it up all year from a statistical standpoint.
He was slow to start, and then he was a little banged up, and then he had a fantastic run.
Oh yeah, he was crucial
through a chunk
for them.
of the season.
But I mean, because of that, because of the injuries, it kept his overall production down, which will keep his,
No, yeah, it's kept
his price down.
He's a buy for me. I mean, obviously we don't know.
I mean, from the market in the NFL, so
Yeah.
they would get it's not like he blew it up and they're gonna have to compete with a high.
There's not a ton
contract.
There's not a ton of tight ends in free agency that are all that interesting, and there's also not outside of Brock Bowers, Sanders. I'm sure another tight end or two will emerge, but it's not an overwhelmingly awesome tight end class. It doesn't seem so. I feel like Schultz, should be locked up with CJ Stroud kind of moving forward here. Obviously, you don't know what he's going to, where he's going to end up and if they'll re-sign him, but he's a buy for me in tight end premium. Dotson.
Hold on, real quick, back to Judy. It's kind of a similar situation with A.G. Brown, Jameson Williams. I don't know if he's got it right inside the helmet, but the talent is there. And you saw him open. You saw Russell miss him a bunch. Like, he's getting behind defenders, and he's making plays downfield. I think he's a free agent. They didn't pick up a fifth-year contract or fifth-year option. So
he's on the.
Oh, he's still a Bronco?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But they basically tried to trade him last
They
year.
were rumored to have traded
him and Cortland.
Either which one of them. So, yeah, he's on there for 2024, 2025.
Okay, then he's an unrestricted free agent. This is his fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be good if you didn't break out year one.
No shot. But then you got Dotson, who is also dead to a lot of people, but I'm still very much in. He's talk about getting open and being able to be open as Dotson. And there was some games where Curtis Samuel was missing, and you'd get a little Dotson action, and it's like, oh shit, he can play. I'm certain that he can play. We just need a quarterback who can get it to him. That system was really weird last year. They were throwing to everybody but Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson seemingly throughout a lot of the year. But still very much in. I'll take the discount on Jahan Dotson. Jalen Warren at 11.5 seems like a nice little pickup right there. And then Sharbs didn't really get you what you thought he would, but overall a good player, had some good spots here and there. Worth a stab in the at 11.6. Yeah, because if anything happens to Walker, we're pretty sure that Sharbs could be good. We are going to get a different regime, so we shall see how they operate and deploy the running backs. JJ McCarthy goes, AD Mitchell goes, Tony Pollard 11.9, baby. I think we're getting really, really good running back values right now. It's awesome. Like, I mean, you can really, really, grab one early if you want, if it falls right, and then you can just kind of hang right now until 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round and grab all sorts of fun guys who can really help you out.
Look at Derrick Henry right there.
I mean,
love the Kendrick Miller value too.
Pollard, I mean, Chubb is probably still going to come back and be good. Connor's
Mixon right solid. There. Eckler, good God, look at that round. That's 12th round.
It's mixed in with some veterans, like Mixon and Eckler, who Eckler didn't look all that explosive throughout last season, but he had
off an injury,
and then at the end of the season started catching some balls coming on. But then you got guys like Chase Brown, Ford, who isn't a sexy fun pick, but was very startable for most of the year. Showed you he's got good speed
all year long, and then won you a week. Won you the thing if you played him.
Really good speed out of Ford. And then you got Roshan and Swift and Kendre, who I love. Definitely going to be buying into more and more Kendre as he disappointed, I'm sure, a lot of people this last season. But last game of the season, paying attention, Kendre looked good, man. So, again, they're in cap hell. Do they try to get rid of Alvin Kamara and clear up some of that cap, trade him away, maybe eat a little bit of it, but clear some of it? I don't know. That Jamal Williams signing was dumb as hell. I don't think they can really get rid of him because certainly nobody's going to want him. Derrick Henry, 12.4. Then Likely, 12.3. Likely's so weird, man, because what do? We know he's a stud. We know he's awesome, but you got Andrews. How do you not operate that offense with both of those guys moving forward? But neither one of them, it seemed like Andrews being back was a detriment to both of them and the offense in the last game that we just saw from the Ravens, although nothing was going right for the Ravens in that last game. They looked nothing like they had all season. So like the stab on Likely there. Jordan Travis, obviously big injury at the end of the year, but an interesting stab there. Then we got Connor. So now we're coming back through 13 here. Wandell, Big Co, just right after, man after my own heart. Love the Wandell bounce back. Giants have who on the receiving core? Jalen Hyatt. I think they can bring back Slayton. But Robinson's there. Robinson's a PPR machine. Robinson, when healthy, has had really good stretches of games. Is it lighting it up with hundreds of yards and a bunch of touchdowns? No, but the Giants' offense hasn't really been any good. So he can be that guy who can pick up your first downs, move the ball down the field, and get you a touchdown here or there.
Yeah, let me get 5 for 50 on the reg.
Right, and then good games. You know,
with a more of a ceiling.
Right, and just a really tough tackle. And then Treylon, going to stay in on Treylon, and I'm going to, pop Douglas all off season was a guy for me, super late, pick him up for free. So yeah, I'll go back to that. Well, we obviously are probably going to be in a quarterback situation there. So we shall see what they do. So it could be Drake May, could be Jaden Daniels. They could trade back, who really knows, but the Patriots need to kind of revamp everything they got going on over there, from receiving core to quarterback. I believe Hunter Henry is a free agent. Gesicki's a free agent, potentially. Maybe Henry's not. I have to double check that.
Who?
Hunter Henry. But other than that, Kendrick Bourne was your best guy. I believe he's a free agent. So Douglas could find himself right in a role with a new quarterback who him and the quarterback could build a nice little rapport. Douglas was their most explosive player after Bourne went out, and
Henry's a free agent,
and should have just had even more targets. But the Patriots' whole deal was pretty ugly. So then we got Derek Carr. He's going with Kirk Cousins and Kyler Murray, so he's got a little wiggle room with Cousins, depending on how long that takes to come back. I like the JT Sanders grab there, bud. And then Aaron Rodgers at 13.5, probably late enough. And then he kind of Hawk Life Theo there shores it up potentially with some Rodgers with huge upside there, and limited risk here, taking him in the 13th round. But you got Mayfield and Lawrence. Then we got Singletary, who was outstanding last year. Mostert, we got. I know J Mike's been a Mostert guy. Love the Mostert stab there. Nothing wrong with that. Little Evans, little Mostert, propel you to the championship year one potentially. And see what Mostert has left in his 32-year-old season, I believe. Ty Chandler had a good showing. Nice little stab there. Russell, 13.9. Russell's an enigma. I have no idea what to do with Russell, but he's going to be on some team, and he was very fantasy relevant last year. And just coming out from Sean Payton seemingly really wanting nothing to do with Russell Wilson, and it being evident at the end of the season, but in season you didn't know that it probably wasn't, a great situation, and Russell kind of riding that out and being Russell, got to give him the nod there. I think Russell can still play well enough to be fantasy relevant, and in the 13th round,
yeah,
I'll take a shot at a quarterback. And you got Hurts and Tua, so you had Russell as your QB3. That's a spot I want Russell to be, my QB3 or 4. Then Braylon Allen, he's going to be a point of contention all off season. People are either real in on him or telling you're an idiot for liking him. That'll be TBD. We'll see what the FFD comes back with that.
He's got to be good, right?
I don't know. People are very, very down on him. Very, very split on him.
Why do they hate him?
Oh, it's a whole. He was productive one year and then not productive another, and just a lot of silly little things that they don't like. But still super young. He's only 19. We'll be breaking down all these guys in different ways. We're not going to do the sole prospect shows like we used to do. We'll probably throw some more of those on Patreon, but we will be hitting those guys in the rookie drafts and doing different ways of talking about 2 or 3 of these rookies at a time and getting into the minutia of the hows and whys of why Braylon Allen is good or isn't good.
The minutiae.
A little bit there. So Dobbins, a little 13-11 stab. Then Chuba, Nuke, Shakir, great late round stab there. Mingo, love that late round stab there. Otten, another awesome late round stab there. Will Shipley, not a lot of buzz on Will. I don't know a whole lot about him.
He could be good. He could be good. He's got speed. He's pretty electric. He can break tackles. He's a great receiver of the ball. He can return. He can do work in the return game. He's a little small, but I think people are coming around on that. It was nicked up this year and didn't have a ridiculously productive step forward season.
And the other running back kind of took over a little.
Maffa's a hoss. Yeah. Maffa's. I would just wish we'd give it to him more. And then Shipley went down and Maffa blew up.
Yeah,
200+ yard game.
So Will Shipley will be interesting.
I think it'll be a value. I think it's a good value. Although, then you got Tez Walker, and then Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers. Like, oh yeah, let me get Jacoby. I would have taken Jacoby over half of the last 3 rounds. Darren Waller, probably a good stab there. If he can be any shade of Darren Waller and they can run a decent offense, he'll probably crush for you in tight end premium at least, some weeks. But you got Goddard, so you're okay there. And then Lad McConkey, who's just screaming up the charts right now at the Senior Bowl with his, one-on-one route work. The videos were all over the place today. And, of course, being, pegged as Wes Welker, Cooper Kupp, all the other whites. But he does. It is very impressive watching him run the routes on singled up DBs, which is what it is. It's not how it works in a real game per se. To have him have the option to go 3 different ways on somebody is a really hard situation to be put in. Missed some time this year, but I think is going to be storming up the charts. Corley, who we talked about with JB, he's kind of that more big-bodied, super-duper physical guy, a bit different than McConkey here. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. He could be flying up. He's from Western Kentucky. Got to keep an eye on him. Kenny Pickett, love that shot. Mims, who knows, but was an analytical darling. Everybody loved him. Peyton's a JO, so we'll see how that turns out. Maybe Mims has a big second year. But it seems like Sutton and Judy may still be around with them going into the following year. There goes Michael Wilson, Quentin Johnston, Raheed Shaheed. Love that. That's a really good stab. He's a free agent, so we'll see where he ends up. What wide receiver? Cortland Sutton's still out here. That's ridiculous. But we are only doing 15 rounds here in the effort of time. On the other mocks, we go to 18, 20 rounds. But so on these minute clocks where we're going live, we don't obviously draft the full complement of bench players. But just kind of out here getting a feel for everything. On our first live mock back, like I said, we'll be hitting these. We'll be hitting another one on Sunday, and then we'll take one off for Super Bowl Sunday, and then we'll probably be back the next Sunday. They won't all be startups. Some of them will be rookie mocks. So be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. So especially subscribe so you can get all that right to your little fingertips, and you can hop right on and comment. Or if you follow us on the Twitters at the FFD, you usually throw it out to try to get a couple of public guys in here with the patrons as well. They get first shot. So if it fills up with them real quick, then maybe you won't. But you can follow us at the FF Dynasty on Twitter. Be a good way to get yourself in these mocks. All right. What do we got finishing up here? We got Sam Howell. We got Tyler Algier. We got Zamir White. We got, let's see here. We got Juwan Johnson. We got Estime. Love that stab right there. Me and JB talked about him on the Sleeper Show. We talked about Corley on the Sleeper Show. So go check those out at your leisure for your pleasure. Roman Wilson also getting some love down there at the Senior Bowl this week. So we got two spots left here. But we're about to jump into some more rookie talk. We got some more coming your way. We're going to be doing startups. We're going to be doing rookie mocks. We're going to be talking about values of all these guys. We're going to be doing some rankings. So, channel has got you locked and loaded for all off season long, getting you prepared for your rookie drafts, getting you prepared for your startups. We're real excited to keep it moving forward. I mean, the grind of the season is the grind of the season, and the off season is almost where the dynasty player thrives and likes even more. So we're excited to be back. We're excited to be that you guys are mocking and focking with us. Jalen Polk goes and Keaton Mitchell. Nice snag there at 5'11". So as these go, we'll start to build our ADP back up, and we'll start to kind of figure out where some of these guys are going. It'll give you a better idea of who's the value, who's the not, who is the value in this one. We kind of talked about that as we went through. So hard to say right now as a comparison to anything else, but gave it our best shot going through here. Let's look at some team overviews real quick. We had Adam W., who started off with 4 quarterbacks. He's going to dictate the quarterback market in this league. Really put the screws to some of these other guys in here who weren't QB heavy to start. He got Jordan Addison and Rome, Spears, Ferguson, Kamara, Kupp, Xavier Worthy, James Conner, Chuba, Nuke, and Polk. So he's going to have a lot of flexibility of trading and maneuvering with those quarterbacks who are going to be, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 in the draft. So going to hold a lot of value there. You can move any one of those to kind of go whatever direction you want this team to go in. And you got a couple old guys, so you could be winning but you also sprinkled in some youth there. So, don't hate that. We got Kamal Man. He's got Mahomes, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Walker, Dell. Coleman was the first pick I really didn't love there. Pacheco, you got to give him his flowers at this point. Solid player.
And the story behind that man, like, it's hard not to root for him. And then just the way he runs and on a good team, I don't see why they need to, maybe they bring in somebody, but he's going to be the guy and he should only get better. So,
yeah,
love it.
Then you got Geno on there. So, and then your other quarterback is Jordan Travis. So, might be a little bit in the quarterback weeds there. Hopefully, Geno gets another go out with the new regime. I don't know why they wouldn't, unless they go, doing something crazy and drafting somebody else. But pretty solid team there. Probably needs some little tight end help. So he may not be quite ready to roll off the rip. So that one's interesting. We got Hoodie over here, Lamar, Puka, Waddle, Taylor. Love that start. Then JSN. So a lot of going to be narrative around JSN all off season. He's going to be a topic of conversation, I'm sure. But he doesn't necessarily need him. But I think you're going to get way more out of JSN this year, but maybe still not even reaching the full potential, depending on what they do with Tyler Lockett in the offseason. He's got Freiermuth, he's got Likely. So, Likely got to have him, but might not be able to use him for a little while. But, if he was very usable, he'd be up here in that Kincaid, Pitts, Hawkinson, or at very least the Joku range, because he showed that he belongs out there in his stretch run without Andrews. Really came on late there. Let's check out a couple other teams here. Obviously, got Big Co on the end, Richardson, St. Brown, Fields, Goff, London. So he's good in the quarterback market. He's good in the tight end market. He went light running back, only one on the squad, only going to 15. So he could have added more, but which is, I don't know if I'm drafting Devontae Adams in that situation, if my team's going that way, but he's got flexibility. He just needs to add a running back, and he could, with Devontae Adams, he could go and win something. Jay Mike check. Let's go see what you got going on. We got Burrow, Gibbs, Olave, Neighbors. Hot start. Then Kyle Pitts. So you're hoping and praying. Still a big fan of Kyle. Still will draft Kyle Pitts, and then Levis. Your Kentucky bias is showing there. I think I would have let him ride for a couple more rounds.
G Mike said, "Mock it up, baby. Go Cats."
And then he gets Brian Thomas Jr. in there, and then he's got Evans, so he's got some stability with those rookies in case there's some volatility. And then he takes Nix and McCarthy, so he's got a young, hopeful quarterback room. So you got Evans in there, and you got Mostert, but Mostert doesn't hurt you at 13-7, and you got Corum as a running back, Gibbs as a running back. So little light on the running backs, but obviously didn't draft the whole complement of things. So he's pretty young with a little bit of olds in there.
And you don't have to set a starting lineup when you draft your team. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Love it.
JMW, Herbert, AJ Brown, Purdy, Pittman, Hawkinson. Obviously you're not going to play Hawk, but then you came right back and you got Joku to start the season. Hopefully he starts off hot. Love this team with Pittman and Metcalf, and AJ Brown is I don't know. But then he's got Romeo, who we love, and nice to see him getting some love here. And then Hollywood, who let him hate. What if he ends up in Kansas City next year?
What if it's Thong?
Then you're gonna hate.
What if it's something really cool I don't even know about?
Then he does, something that I like to do here. He didn't, I wouldn't mind getting one other running back up at the top here. That's kind of, and get out. And then he came right back in here from 10 to 13. And regardless of who the guys are that he takes, I like the idea of just grabbing a stack of backs here. He's got Robinson, who is by all intents and purposes, and Gibson is out of there. They're getting a regime change, so we'll see. But was productive through last season. You got Charbonnet, so there's some fun, some chance there. Again, regime change. We'll see. Roshan, we have hopes for. And Singletary was on a 1-year deal. We'll see what happens with him. And then Jacoby Myers in the 14th steal. And then if anything happens to Bijan, Tyler Algier, I can't imagine he's going to get the kind of run he got with old Arthur Smith there. But nice stab there late. The couple other teams here. Lamb, Kyler, McCaffrey. We talked about that. McBride. I mean, what a start there. And then Debo. This is a killer.
Team,
this is a killer team. Deku. He's ready to go flex on some people early. So he's got a little bit of trouble with potentially Kirk here, but he comes back in 13 with Derek Carr. It's not the sexiest, but it could get you by with Kirk, and nobody likes Kirk, but Kirk puts up fantasy points. And then, with Debo and Rachaad White, love that. They can even improve their O-line a little bit and get Rachaad White a little bit better between the tackles. But he's an outstanding wide receiver or outstanding receiving back. So he all he did was crush this year. I thought he would do well this year, but I was a little bit worried about a replacement next year. Don't see that happening. Was wrong there. Rachaad White, 7-4, nice, and then a nice little stack of wide receivers here with McLaurin and Downs could really help you out, like the JT Sanders, like the Brooks. Really, really, really solid team here from Deku. So yeah. All right, and then let's hit Theo with the last one: Jefferson, T-Law, Hill, ETN, Flowers, Reed, Barkley. I mean, that's a solid squad. That's a solid starting lineup right there. That's not fun to line up against. Then you got Mayfield, who was good this year. Like I said, you got Goddard late. Watson's wild card here, could be a league winner or hard to start. Then Warren and Ford, both of those guys are probably very startable as your RB2, if not a flex. We'll see what happens with Arthur Smith and Warren. And then he's got Rodgers really to, if this team's humming, Rodgers can come right in, and if Lawrence is playing bad or Mayfield's, regressing, Rodgers can come in and help you out. And then he took a stab on Sam Howell and Waller late. So nice little stabs there. He's got a little mix of some youth, a couple of olds, and a couple of league winners on there. So like all the stuff that Theo did there. So some fun rosters here, fun exercise. First live mock back. We appreciate you guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get all this content that we were talking about. There's plenty of full-on dynasty stuff that we're talking about, all the actual guys that are still in the league. There's rookies. We're going to be talking all sorts of startup drafts and values and rookie mocks and trade values, and we're doing roster reviews. So lots of stuff coming through the channel. We got you at least 3 new videos a week, and then on Patreon, you're getting the Discord, and you're getting at least 3 extra Patreon episodes a month. So be sure to come over and check out that. We'll be building the ADP. We got some other stuff in the works. We're trying to build up a little some rookie cards for all these rookies, and we're trying to build up a little of our own database that'll be accessible to the patrons here as we kind of go down the line. Jay Wayne's been working
we proceed
really hard on that, and they're looking pretty good.
To give you what you
and
need.
There's a lot of good information on those that you'll be seeing. Whenever those are done, I'm sure they'll be popping up on the screen as graphics and available to the patrons. And then we're going to parlay that right into, a database with the vets, just making everything a little more cut and clear for everybody to view and see, to make your own rankings. We'll have rankings, but you can make your own rankings, and you can mess with it. You get mad about Hollywood Brown. Well, do your own rankings then and post them. But everybody's gonna be mad at something. So
I think that's what they want us to do for them.
Yeah.
We'll give you a reason to be mad.
I mean, there's literally all
tell us
TV
about
shows that are just built on making you mad. And that's
literally that's what Twitter is.
right. That's what basically media is at this point.
If you're mad, you're engaged. And if you're engaged, you're on the app, you're and that's
we're making money. So anyway, let's get out of here. Very much appreciate you guys. Next Sunday, 9:30. Come on back, hang out. Not sure if we're going to do a startup or a rookie mock, so we'll see you there.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.